Hey everybody, today I'm going to tackle a tough question that a lot of people ask all the time in every circle of life, and most of the time it comes from a personal state of suffering, of pain. And that question is the grander question of why do bad things happen to good people? Or how can you reconcile God and evil and suffering and the things of the world? A lot of times people will ask this question because they just went through a hard thing in life. They just went through a loss. They went through a change. They went through something bad happening to them. And I can relate. Bad things happen all the time. Evil in this world is persistent. And it seems like sometimes you wonder, is God even really there? Or can you reconcile all the bad things that are happening with such a good, holy, and just God? Well, I love R.C. Sproul's quote. They say, well, why do bad things happen to good people? He said, that only happened once, and he volunteered, capital H on the he. Jesus volunteered, saying that Jesus is really the only good person to ever exist because he's perfect and holy, and he lived a perfect, sinless life, so he gave up his perfect life so we could have righteousness and justification through him. But aside from a Christological standpoint, which that is important, I think we need to look at this as philosophical, yes, how can we reconcile these things, but also personable. Like, we can recognize that evil happens and it affects us personally because life is hard. But how do we reconcile these things? How do we make sense of this stuff and, from a broad sense, narrow it down to understanding our need for God first and foremost and at the end of the day? So number one, we have free will. To understand why bad things happen, we have to first understand that free will was granted to us in the beginning of creation. You can see at the beginning of time in Genesis chapter 3, whenever God gave man dominion over the world, God created humans, he created mankind, he gave Adam and Eve a job to do, and that was to have dominion over the world. He gave mankind free will to do as they pleased and to do as we want. And granted, when that free will was given to us, we messed it up, and there's how sin entered the world, and then you go on from there to get the whole story of the Bible and the gospel. But that's free will, so you really can't have real love without real freedom. So to suggest that God is not a just, holy, or loving God, well, that would suggest that there is no need for free will. We have the choice to do what we want, and with that choice gives God the opportunity, and not just God the opportunity, but us the opportunity to really love, to show love. So real love cannot exist without real freedom. So there's the first argument there. The first thing is that free will provides us with real love. Joshua 24:15, talking about the choice of serving the Lord because he loves us. That's the real choice we have. Secondly, God turns everything as bad that's ever happened, God can turn it around for good. Romans 8:28, you know the verse. Genesis 50:20, I believe. He says that what you meant for evil, God meant for good. So anything that you're going through, a lot of times you can look at it and feel in despair and say, God, what is going on? Why are you doing this to me? Well, that suggests a grander argument. Does God allow bad things to happen? Well, I don't think that God is up there making bad things happen, because he wants good things to happen to you. He wants to bless you. So it would be wrong for us to suggest. It would actually be misappropriated anger to try to say, well, God, you're the one that is making all this happen to me, so I'm angry at you. That's misdirected anger. Really, what we should be saying is, God, what are you trying to show me through this, and how can you help me through this? So that's number two, is that God turns it all around for good. Suffering grows you, and God will redeem your pain. Sometimes in life, you think about the analogy of a diamond, how it is refined and how it really grows in the pressing and through the pressure. And then in life, the same thing happens. The pressure of life gets underneath you, and it seems like you're crashing and everything's burning all around you, but you muster up the strength to bust through and say, I'm going to succeed. And really, the only way I'm going to prosper, the only way I'm going to grow, the only way I'm going to have strength is to let the joy of the Lord be my strength. Take a note out of Nehemiah's book and say that I want God to help me through this. And ultimately, at the end of the day, whether you see it or not, he's working all the things out for your good and for his glory. And then number three, at the end of the day, you got to realize that God already has won the victory. Jesus died on the cross. God gave his only son, Jesus, to die for all the evil that is going on in the world today. So God has already paid for the price. God has already won. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. He's already won the whole thing. There's just evil still here on the earth right now. So while you see the evil that's persisting, while you feel like the world's crashing around all around you, you remember that Jesus has already won. And when the devil tries to remind you of your past, all you have to do is quickly remind him of his future. and that he will be bound up and put in hell for all of eternity, and evil will be put to rest at the end of time. And at this point, what we can look for is Jesus' return. Revelation chapter 21, verse 14, I believe, talks about when we get to heaven, there will be no more pain, no more tears, no more crying, no more suffering. And until then, we have to endure some hard things. Bad things are going to happen. We're going to endure them. But the question is not how do we avoid these bad things. It's not even why do these things happen or how can we reconcile them. It's how can we navigate them with the power of the Holy Spirit. I got two little quotes I wrote down that I don't want to mess up, and I'm going to read these to you, and that'll be the time for us. Evil and suffering don't suggest God's absence. They show our need for his presence. So these bad and evil things that happen in the world don't say that God is not there. They don't. Why would we cry and say, God, where are you? Or even here. Sometimes it's okay to ask those hard questions, but that doesn't show God's absence. It really shows our need for his presence all the more. And secondly, I wrote this: suffering asks the hardest of questions, but in the silence of pain, God is shaping answers we can't understand yet. So I don't know what you're suffering through. I don't know what you're going through. A lot of times you have the hard questions to think, well, why is this even happening to me? Or how do we reconcile this evil? But at the end of the day, God is shaping your story in a way that you can't comprehend yet. And all you got to do is ask the Holy Spirit to grant you a peace that passes all understanding. You won't understand the peace, but it's a peace that can really grant you a serenity surrounding the things that are going on and trusting in God's hand supremely and fully and trusting in his sovereignty over it all. So why do bad things happen to good people? Well, that only happened once, and he volunteered. But at the end of the day, he's working it all out. We have free will because he loves us. He's working it all out for your good, and he's already won.